tuned into Breaking the Mask of Depression with your host, Diva with Depression.
Hi guys, welcome to Breaking the Mask of Depression with me, the Diva with Depression. I'm so glad that you guys are here today. I have a special episode for you guys. So let me get started right away because we want to get into the nitty gritty. So today we're going to be talking about anxiety. And I know with my last episode, when I did seasonal affective disorder, I talked about autumn anxiety. But today we're going to talk about regular anxiety, just anxiety. And so today I have two of my favorite people in the world joining me as co-hosts. So welcome to the studio, Tony.
Hi.
And Lauren.
Hello.
Hello. You're going to say that.
Hi, guys. Hey, Lauren.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Lauren. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Mom, you yelling a little bit.
So I'm thank you guys for coming and joining me today. I always say, you guys know I always say that I gave you guys more than my thighs and my eyes. I gave you all the yucky stuff as far as mental illness and health is concerned. So today I wanted you guys to come on and just have this casual discussion about anxiety, because I know that the three of us, talking amongst ourselves, we all share different experiences. And so I wanted to try to do that today. What do you guys think?
Sounds
Yes.
good to me. Sounds like a party.
So we're not going to get all into your business. I'm just going to get into part of your business, the business that, the good stuff that you can sort of put out there. So my first question is going to be, when did you first learn or discover that you had anxiety? Tony?
Oh.
You're the oldest. You got to go first.
Okay, well, I don't think I really knew what anxiety really was. Sorry. I didn't know what anxiety really was. So I'm going to say I was able to notice the symptoms and label it. I had already moved to Jacksonville, so I was around 24 or 25.
Okay. Lauren, what about you?
I would say that I have had anxiety since I've definitely experienced anxiety since I was about 14.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really experience it like to the extent that I do now until I was a little bit older, around like 19. And I definitely didn't know that. I thought it was just like regular depression, but I think it wasn't until I got a little bit older that I understood that it was a little bit different than that.
I think that I'm in the same boat because, anxiety is a part and is a symptom of most of the mental illnesses out there. And so when you go to the psychiatrist, they don't sort of separate it, until they understand that, until they understand that it is a separate issue that they would have to attack. What are some symptoms? Lauren, you go first this time. What are some of the symptoms that you noticed that made you understand that it was a bit deeper?
I would definitely say like the heart racing. My heart would start beating really fast. Also, um, I would feel paralyzed, like I would feel stuck in place. I couldn't talk. I couldn't really, like if I was staying in a place, I couldn't move from that place.
No.
Which is a lot different than depression in the sense that like if I got so anxious, I just wouldn't be able to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I would say a big thing is just like racing thoughts. Like it feels like there are a million
Tony, what about
thoughts in your
you?
head, and they're all just
Oh, Lauren, you keep going in and out.
Is it the Wi-Fi?
hello.
You
Yeah.
keep going in and out. Are you back?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tony, what are some of the symptoms that you noticed?
So I think the biggest one for me, I don't know how to explain it, but it's kind of like I wouldn't say I'm paralyzed. I am moving. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing. You kind of just going through the motions, though. You don't really. It's really hard for you to focus. You're very much in your own thoughts, crying, irritability. Um, I think a lot of my symptoms are more internal. Um, I don't think it's. I don't think I'm. I don't think it's visibly noticeable that I'm anxious at the time.
Yeah, I think that that's something that I guess is easier to hide than depression. I'm going to give on all my episodes I give the Google facts, and I'm going to read the Google definition of anxiety: a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. So I guess that that sort of I don't know that sort of goes in line with what we're all saying
Yeah.
when we get anxious. And so, I, you know, Tony, you're saying about 24. Lauren, you're saying about 14, but getting bad around what, 18, 19.
Hmm.
So the short question, and this doesn't have to take a lot of time, but do you think that you had it during your lower teenage years?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I just
Yeah,
didn't know. Yeah, I don't think I knew what it was.
yeah. So you guys, I want to tell you that some of the symptoms is feeling nervous, restless, or tense, breathing rapidly, increased heart rate, like Lauren said, sweating, trembling. I know I'm the sweater. Like when I'm freaking out, I already sweat a lot, but it adds to it. Feeling weak or tired, and here's the kicker, which it just drives me fucking crazy. Trouble concentrating or thinking about anything other than the present worry.
Yeah, that's yeah.
You know, and
Yes.
I know, having conversations with you guys, that's something that we also have in common. That we have trouble concentrating, have trouble sleeping, and even Tony. I think it was Tony. Tony, we discussed this one time that even your tummy is disrupted by anxiety.
Yeah.
Like you having a hard time holding things down, or it sort of irritates your
Mhm.
stomach. So it goes in line with everything that we're saying. Um, we'll go with Tony again. How has it affected your life?
In a lot of ways, I think definitely socially. I think that's one of the biggest ways. And I think just being an adult, it just makes it difficult when you're constantly overwhelmed,
Right.
constantly worried,
Yeah.
unable to relax. So, um, yeah, it's affected quite a bit of areas of my life, but I think it's just important to try to manage it as best as you
Hmm.
can. So, yeah.
Lauren, what about you?
I feel like I'm sorry. I feel like it's definitely affected me in the sense that I'm just constantly I can't relax.
Uh-huh.
I can't relax at all. But I think what I kind of do to like kind of get through that is by trying to think about it in the sense of like, is there anything I can do about the worry? If it's something that did I do it on purpose? Like that kind of thing.
Hmm. So it's hard to sort of move forward. get to
Yeah.
the next step. Because like you said, sometimes you can just be frozen in time, you know, like, you know, it's so hard to concentrate on more than one thing or the other. So if you have an anxiety attack in that moment, all that matters is that that subject that you're anxious about. That's the only thing. You can't even think about getting out of the anxiety attack. You're
Yeah.
so caught up, guys, in what's going on at the moment. You can't even hear people
Mhm.
talking to you to
Yeah.
say, oh, calm down, let's get some water, let's get some air, you'll feel better. We don't, we just focus on that one thing. And um it's just awful to try to, it's hard to explain to people, like I can talk to you guys and I talk to my friends about what's going on, but it's hard to explain to people because they just think of anxiety as just nervousness, or it's something that, you'll come out of it in a few minutes. And I want people to understand that this is like debilitating. Do you guys think that it's just like, what level do you put anxiety on?
Like 1 to 10.
Definitely,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lauren. I'm sorry.
I would say definitely a 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say so.
Um, yeah, like sometimes I can't leave the house, I can't get out of bed, I can't call people back or text people, I can't pick up the phone, I can't respond to emails, I can't do anything. Um,
What about you, Tone?
I'm gonna say a 10 too. Um, like Lauren said, you're just kind of like paralyzed. You're overwhelmed because you want to do all these things. You need to do all those things. That's what's on your mind. But you just kind of you just do the opposite and kind of just become paralyzed. Constant worrying. I don't think people understand like how exhausting it is to have your mind going from the time you open your eyes to the time you go to bed, and sometimes not even when you go to bed because you could be dreaming about it. So I definitely think anxiety is a level 10. I don't think
Isn't that
people
wild? Isn't that
understand.
wild that we're dreaming about anxiety?
Yeah.
mhm,
That's just, you know, um, like I said, people think that it's just nervousness or, sort of a panic attack. You can get a paper bag and blow into it and everything's going to be fine. And, they don't think about like some of these things that I found, things I didn't realize were anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So being startled, being easily startled, replaying shameful memories, like Lauren said, you start to, just go on thinking about one subject over and over again. It's just on repeat. I call it on repeat, that one thing, even though everybody else may have moved past it, but we haven't moved past it. Worrying about your health, Tony, you're the Google doctor. So, so every time something comes up, you're on Google. Irritability, you know,
That's me.
definitely, right?
That's
Lauren, what
me.
do you think? Difficulty speaking up. And, that sort of goes
mhm,
into the next question discussion about phone anxiety. So that's what I want. That's one thing that I want to hit upon because I know that people don't speak are not speaking to me now because I don't talk on the phone and they don't understand that talking on the phone isn't a source of anxiety for me. And I know for others, it's because when you have depression, anxiety disorders, your mind is always going. So you have to prepare
That's
for,
exactly what it is, yeah.
prepare for a conversation, right? And so when you get a phone call and you answer it, it's just off the cuff and you haven't had a time to gather your thoughts. You know, I can be on the phone sometimes talking and I just lose focus completely because I answered the phone and I shouldn't have because I needed to wait until, I got back down to earth and that's why texting is so amazing for people with mental illnesses and anxiety disorders, because we can get our thoughts out. And like Lauren said, you something will happen and you will be thinking about it over and over and over again. And so if you take a phone call and you say something, that you think is wrong or offensive, that's something that you're going to think about until, you know. So what about you guys? Lauren, let's go with you first.
So with phone anxiety, I like you were talking about how texting is really, um, like good for people with mental health issues, but I guess I find in my experience that that is also one of the things that triggers my anxiety, is because like over text you can't really communicate tone. You don't know how people actually like are feeling when they write certain things. That actually gives me a lot of anxiety. Am I like I'm thinking about my text and like, oh, if I say it like this, like will they think I'm mad at them? If I don't put these exclamation points, are they gonna think I'm rude? So that's kind of where my phone anxiety is. I don't know if that's just because like I'm like of a younger generation and we kind of text more
Tony, what about you?
I think I
than
agree.
we use the
Texting.
phone.
Oh, sorry, Lauren. Your stuff's going in and out.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, but
Yes.
it's like a little staticky.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. It might be
Is it
my
not?
Wi-Fi.
So Tony, what do you think about your phone anxiety?
Well, I think it's similar. I think I have, I guess it's anxiety, um, over the phone and text. Maybe just communication just gives me anxiety. But I don't think I ever really um, thought about that, like phone
Yeah.
anxiety.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
didn't
it
know it was a
makes
thing.
sense. Yeah, I've never really thought about that. I do know I don't like when people call. And like you said, you have time to prepare, especially if someone calls, like, oh, just checking on you. Like, if you don't have anything to say, what are we doing here? Because you call, you call me with nothing to say. Like, what's going on here? So yeah, I guess communication in general, over the phone, and not even that, but being consistent. Because there are
Yeah,
going to be times where I'm not feeling as anxious or I'm not feeling as depressed, and I'm a little more social. So now I'm reaching out to everybody. What are we doing? Where we going? How are you? How's your grandma? Like we're moving, and then probably the next day it's not going to be like that. And then now my phone is, everybody's texting, and then I don't respond. So communication and the consistency, I think, gives me anxiety too.
yeah. I but I guess that will lead into the next thing that I wanted to talk about: social anxiety. And me personally, there are so many there's so many symptoms that I can describe. Having to watch the door when I go somewhere, not being in a crowd. Like I have severe crowd phobia. So, if I go to a crowded setting, I have to be off to the side looking into the crowd, seeing what's going on. Um, so, but you guys call me Social Susie, because I'm always talking to my friends, texting with my friends or whatever. So you guys and people on the outside think that I'm sociable, and um, that's not true. Like, I really, really have anxiety with being in crowds and with talking to people. And I think it goes, like this, it's part of the same thing. What if you say the wrong thing to the person that you're talking to? If you're talking to a crowd, what if you say something that offends somebody in that crowd? Or, oh my God, do I have broccoli on my teeth? Like stuff like that. So I want to, because you guys are very different when it comes to socializing. So, Lauren, I'm going to start with you. Um, how do you have social, how does social anxiety show up in your life? Because you're always doing something.
So I find that social anxiety is So I don't really, my social anxiety is not like exacerbated by just socializing in general. I find that it's the type of socialization. So I can go to a club or go to a concert with no problem, um, because those are places where I feel like I'm in my element and I have control.
Mm-hmm.
It's situations where I'm at like a more intimate house party, or if it's just a one-on-one thing, those give me social anxiety because that relies a lot more on the things I say and my personality and things that I might be insecure about.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Tony, so you're the opposite, and Lauren, I think that Tony and I should tell people that you're always out somewhere. You're always hanging out, you're always having fun. So, I'm sure that your friends or people on the outside don't know that there's anxiety tucked away somewhere in the party animal, right?
Yeah. It's definitely something that I think from the outside looking in, you probably wouldn't think that I have any social anxiety, but I think it's because we tend to think of people that have social anxiety as people that can't socialize or maybe don't want to.
Right.
But that's not really the case for most people. Like humans are naturally social creatures. We want to feel connected to people. And I feel like anxiety is wanting to feel connected, but not necessarily knowing how.
So that's a good way to put it, Lauren. It's a good way. Tony, how does social anxiety show up for you?
I would think the same thing. I think it just depends on my environment. I'm learning, I think as I get older, I'm more comfortable being social now. That's not to say I'm more comfortable making friends or anything, but
Right.
I'm more comfortable maybe like with small talk or um, things like that. I will say because it is hard for me to relax. And then what comes with that is also we could be very hyper vigilant. So we
Right.
are constantly scanning the room. We're looking at facial expressions,
Right.
tones. If we make a move, we're looking around to see if anybody noticed it. So I will say that in a lot of social situations, I would I'll drink
Uh-huh.
to kind of relax and to loosen up a little bit. So I don't think I necessarily figured out the antidote yet. And I've noticed even if I leave something, I'm thinking about what I said, what I did. Do you think I said this the wrong way? I hope
Right.
nobody took offense to this. Was my
Yeah.
wig lopsided? Like it's just so yeah.
And then we find out that nobody cared. You
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
we went nuts for nothing. I found this interesting blurb here. It says people who have social anxiety are almost never in the present moment because they are constantly in psychological warfare between their past and their future. And when I found that, I was like, holy shit! Like I have to write that down because it just encompasses everything that we're saying about mental health issues, anxiety disorders, and all of the yuck that comes with it. You know, um, I want to talk about, and we can do this quickly because I know that I didn't prepare you guys for this, but how does the anxiety interfere with your relationships? And I'm talking about your friends and family, love, partners. How do you think it affects negatively or positively in your relationships? Tony?
I can't think of any. I mean, I guess something positive. I guess in my relationship now, um, my boyfriend is not very as observant as I am, so I can probably
Okay.
pick up on things, like that he can't. But that's kind of the only positive. I think I don't think that it's had any positive effects.
Right.
Um, I think it comes with a lot of like need for reassurance. A lot of just fear all the time and just worrying, which can look like you're being clingy or need for control, things like
Right.
that. So I can't think of any positive other than the observing part. What do you think,
Lauren, what
Lauren?
about you?
I think I would say for the most part, yeah, I agree. It kind of negatively affects my relationships. I think the biggest thing is that sometimes I just can't leave the house when I have very bad anxiety, and I noticed that that kind of caused a lot of tension in my friendships because it would lead to me like canceling plans or me agreeing to go out when I'm feeling good and then the day of getting anxiety about it and then backing out of it, and that causing a lot of trouble between me and my friends. So, yeah, but I will say one positive is that I think that because of my anxiety, I think that I have a lot of empathy for people. I'm able to put myself in their shoes. I'm a lot more understanding. Like, when someone cancels plans on me, I'm not automatically like, oh my goodness, like, they're a horrible friend. I kind of think more so like, okay, they could just be having a day where they don't want to leave the house, or it could be more difficult for them to socialize today. And so I think it's maybe more understanding in my friendships.
But you want to know something? I'm sorry, Mom. Were you about to say something?
No, go ahead.
I feel like I go back and forth with that whole like, you know how you said that, you know, some of your friends will get upset if you don't want to, you know, like it causes tension. Does that mean you need like a new support system, or should we be understanding? Like, should we understand their frustration? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I go back and forth with like, okay, should I be upset or should I just understand where they're coming from because I'm always canceling or whatever the case may be? I feel like I always go back and forth with that.
One of the things that I find, and I sort of noticed this before reading, about the subject, but I find that people with mental illnesses are empaths, a whole bunch of them, you know, and I also think that, like Lauren said, you're more compassionate because you don't want anybody else to feel the way you're feeling. And I think that that's why we always take time to, worry about people's feelings. But like you said, Tony, why? You know, is it both ways?
Yeah, you never know. Right. Are they caring about my feelings?
Right.
So, yeah, I just don't ever know. I don't ever know, like, because at part of you want to be like, okay, if I'm putting myself in their shoes and they were to keep canceling on me, or they get around a family function or some type of function and they're quiet and in the corner, like, I would probably feel away too. But at the same time, they need to be understanding, but maybe they don't.
Right.
So I don't know. It's like back
Right.
and forth. I don't know. And I think
I
that's sometimes will cause isolation.
Right.
Because you'd rather just not even put yourself in that situation of having to feel like you disappointed someone or anything like that, at least for me.
Yeah. I was just having a conversation with your uncle the other day about a family member, and that was the way that they handled, they would go to the social events, but they would stay in the room. They wanted to be present, but they couldn't be present, so to speak. And nobody understood that, like, well, why? Why don't they want to come out? Why? And like you said, Tone, I don't think that people take the time to see the other side of it as far as we're concerned.
Right.
And, sometimes it bugs me because I think that I'm pretty open about how I am and what I'm going through. And I really think that you guys are too. I know you may not think so, but I think that you both are really good at, without spilling all the beans, letting your friends and family know where you stand and how you feel. And so when people don't reciprocate, it really bugs me. It really, really bugs me. So, okay. Um, here's a sidebar and a chuckle that, of course, women are more likely to have anxiety disorder than men.
Women are more likely to have anything than men.
Every
It's
effing thing.
ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Like, come on. Why do we have to have everything? You know, and I'm gonna be nice. I know a couple of men that have anxiety in different situations. I also know um, introvert men that are introvert. So I'm not taking anything away from them because I know that number one, the stigma around a man having anxiety and depression. So, I know it's hard for them, but God damn it, I'm sick and tired of women have to take everything.
It's always women are twice more likely to this, twice more. Okay, can we get a break? Like
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. And you're in nursing school, so you'll see that it's always
Every
women.
disease, everything. Like, okay, it's okay.
Like, why are we even here? Like, let's just
to carry the burden to everybody else. It's very sad. Everybody else is just skipping through fields, living life, floating through life, and we twice more likely to get everything at every age. It's ridiculous.
Poor us. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Um, okay. This is one of the last questions. Is there anything? Well, let's say this. In my last episode about seasonal affective disorder, I talked about autumn anxiety. Does your anxiety increase or decrease during any specific time? Laura?
I find that my anxiety is, I would say, pretty consistent throughout most of the year, but I find that if there's any like time period, I'm sorry, if there's any time period that kind of affects it, I would probably say like toward like in like a week, I would say toward the end of the week is when I feel the most anxiety.
Oh, wow.
But there's not like a specific season of the year where I feel the most anxiety. I feel like it's pretty consistent year round.
Yeah. That's interesting. Maybe that's why I
By the
hate
end of the
Mondays.
week,
Yeah, I hate Mondays. So,
Yeah.
what is the end of the week? Explain that quickly.
I mean, if you want to, we don't mean to put you on the
Yeah,
spot.
we don't want to get all
Well,
into business.
no, that's okay. Well, at the end of the week, I feel like so specifically like for like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Um, it's like that dread and anticipation for the next week to come.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
like,
that makes
what is the
sense.
next week gonna bring?
Yeah,
And also thinking about, oh, it's this day, it's almost the end of the week, I haven't accomplished anything, getting anxious about that, about all the things you haven't done and the week is almost over and the
yeah,
weekend's over and then you got to go back to work. Like, it's a lot of those feelings.
Oh,
yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah,
I
that
get
makes
that.
sense.
I get that. What about you, Tone?
I say the same thing. It's pretty consistent. I think when I'm overwhelmed at school, I am very anxious. When I am late, which is often, I get really anxious. The week before my menstrual cycle, everything is elevated. So that time, and when again, if I'm in like any social situation, initially, I'm very
Mm-hmm.
anxious. So
Yeah, so it's pretty much all the time.
365.
Yeah, yeah. And that's, I guess we'll have to do another show on that because that's awful, to live like that. Um, and I hate that, you know, you guys are still young and that this was such and is such a huge part of your lives that your younger years are not wasted. I mean, you guys have done and still do amazing things, but it just hurts to think about the fact that, like anxiety, we won't even talk about everything else, but these things that we're talking about today, take up so much a part of your life. I think every parent wants their kids to be happy, unconditionally. And I think that I'm pretty, I know that that can't happen. Everything can't be wonderful. But I think when I hear you guys talk and today and when we're talking amongst each other, I think that's the biggest thing that bothers me because I know that I was depressed when at you guys' age. I was 25 when I had Tony. So I was already knee deep in my shit for a long time before, before your ages. So I just wanted to say that I think that, I'm honored that you guys are always willing to share your story because I know that it's going to help somebody. Because at 22, at 14, at 16, and even at, Tony's age, because we're not going to say it out loud.
Please do not. Okay. All right. We already are talking about mental health illness. Let's not do that. Okay.
And so I just wanted to share that I love you guys, and I'm so grateful for you sharing your story. And we won't. I'm going to go to the next thing because all of us will be blubbering. One of the last things I want to ask, and I guess Tony, you'll go first. What would you tell somebody about living with anxiety, and what would you tell somebody that doesn't have anxiety?
Ooh, hard-hitting questions. Living with anxiety, I always say it does get better. I think I would say kind of what we're talking about. It is really important to surround yourself with the right type of people. That's going to be very instrumental in managing your symptoms. I also think don't be afraid to get professional help. There are a lot of, it doesn't even have to be medication. I know there's a lot of behavioral therapies that can help with that. And then for people not with anxiety, do some research or, just try to be more understanding. Google is free. You know what I mean? And that's why I get so frustrated because everybody, this is the thing. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say about it, I promise. But, when it comes to stuff like this and multiple things, it's people are walking around they're making a daily choice to stay ignorant. Yeah. You can do your research and you don't.
Right.
And that's tacky. I'm not coming for you. I'm not judging. I'm letting you know. That's it.
And that is true because like I said, you're the Google doctor. I'm the person that's researching everything at 3:00 in the morning. Lauren is always looking into something. So you're right. Just taking maybe 10 minutes. If somebody says to you, I live with depression, then maybe take 10 minutes to go on Google and look at what the symptoms are and how you can be a better support system. So, yeah. Lauren, what about you? What would you tell somebody that doesn't have anxiety and somebody that is living with anxiety?
To someone living with anxiety, I would say, well, what Tony said, it gets better, but also, to give yourself a break.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. You can't choose what you're born with. You can't choose the way your brain works. So you can't beat yourself up about it. No one chooses to have anxiety. No one has that. And so
Lauren, what's the noise? There's a noise blocking you. Okay.
Hello? Is it your blanket?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not.
It's something rubbing your mic or something.
I think you were moving something.
It's not time for bed yet. We're almost at time.
Let me
Y'all can't see, but
here.
she got her bonnet on and everything.
Let me insert here for the people that are in the world. My little baby, my poor baby, has a cold. So she took some night medicine before she was supposed to be a guest on the show. So Tony and I are trying to keep her up. Now, Lauren,
I'm not.
Focus.
Okay. Well, as I was saying before, I was interrupted.
Look, now you're cutting out. It's too much, Lauren. It's too much.
Can you hear me now?
Barely. Dial up internet.
Go
Okay,
ahead, Lauren.
well, I would just say, someone living with anxiety, to not be too hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up about it. If you can't fix it, then then move on from it the best you can. But I would say to someone that is not living with anxiety to just quite simply just be more compassionate in your day-to-day life, because you just don't know what people are going through, what they're experiencing. You don't know why that person hasn't talked to you in a long time. You don't know why that person is struggling to, interact with your family when they meet. Like, no one, you don't know what anyone is going through or why it's hard for them to socialize. So just be a little bit more compassionate. Think about the way that you're talking about people with social anxiety, or people that you perceive as not being able to socialize as well. Because the people in your life that have anxiety are listening to that,
Mhm.
and they're absorbing that, and they're going to feel a certain way about themselves because of those things that you say. I
Yeah.
notice a lot of people who don't know that I have anxiety or social anxiety or whatever, say, sometimes not the best things about people that do have those things around me, and it makes me feel worse about the situation.
Yeah. It's probably make you question them. Are these my real friends? You
Probably
know,
not. Oh,
how the
sorry.
hell can you think like that? Um,
I'm sorry.
and let me just add this little thing, and you guys have 2 seconds each. Do you
I don't
think
like that. I don't like the rapid fire. Okay, go ahead.
I asked you about your relationships, but I want to say, does your anxiety affect your like immediate family, or yeah, like your family circle?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you mean us?
No, I mean
Oh, you
your
mean
family.
I know what you mean. Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Lauren, you think
Yeah.
that so too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, I get it. I get it. I just wanted to say on air that I get it. So, folks, you have got another glimpse into the life of the divas and myself and what we go through with anxiety. Guys, as always, I truly, truly appreciate you taking the time to come on and do some work for me. You guys are amazing, and your compassion just it's always, like listening to you guys talk. It's just very obvious that not only are you very, very aware of yourself, you're aware of how yourself affects others. And you take the time to make sure that everybody is okay. Everybody in your circle is okay. And I love that one thing that I love about you guys, that you're always looking out for people. So thank you,
You're
Tony.
welcome.
Thank you, Lauren, for taking out the time to come on here and chit chat. Of course, we know that you're going to be on again.
Yes.
We'll get
Lauren
it
will be
together.
awake next time.
We'll
I
get
am
it
awake.
together.
I don't know why I keep coming for you, Lauren. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. It's very
That's
much
not,
fighting
yeah,
words.
I know. I know. I'm so sorry.
So you see, guys, this is us. This is what we go through, and but it's also the other side is that, if I can add quickly, is that when one is down, the others are trying to lift them up. And if all three of us are down at the same time, the three of us will try to bring each other up, and it could be a small thing. I love you, or I'm thinking about you, or change the subject, in our
That is it.
conversations. So this is us, and this is actually how many it's two generations, and
I'm
it's a
sorry, generations?
I'm one generation and you're another, right?
Oh.
Okay.
Is
So
Lauren 3? Is Lauren 3?
no, you guys are
Oh,
just
like we're a combined
yeah,
generation.
yeah.
Because that makes me feel old when
Hmm.
you said generation.
Well, you are old,
Like
Tony,
I
but
didn't
you're not
like
as
that.
old as
Like, wait a minute, generation now? I don't know. Okay.
me. Thank you guys
Giving
for listening to us
prehistoric.
and
Right. Like
putting up with us.
1800 BC. I'm like, okay.
I
Okay.
can't cut them off because I want you guys to understand. This is why I have freaking anxiety, with these
It's
two.
okay.
So thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for sharing your experiences. Everyone, thank you for listening to us. I hope that this helps at least one person. And if it has helped you, pass it along. Thank you, of course, to Illuminated Technology. They do everything for me. Thank God. So go follow them on all the social media platforms. And of course, we're on all social media platforms. So go on and take a listen to us. And like I said, if you think that somebody would benefit from this, please share, because one share can save a life. Keep finding your peace, keep finding your quiet, and be well. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So